Hello and welcome to another video from Greener Side Language Academy. We're back with another video from the series on CSEC Spanish oral exams, in particular the guided conversation, and today we'll be looking at school and career. Last time I did a video, we looked at the topic sports and recreation, and if you'd like to watch that video, just click the link in the top right corner of this video. Go ahead and click it. Now before we start, I'd like to just express my appreciation for my subscribers, my loyal subscribers and watchers. Thank you so much for, I think at this point, 130 subscribers. I really appreciate the support and I'm glad to provide these videos for you because I know they will help you to prepare for the CSEC oral exam. And of course, in the future, when I provide more material, more content, I look forward to having you there, watching the videos and commenting, and also sharing them with your friends as you're currently doing. So once again, thank you so much for your support, and let's get right into the video. So again, I have divided this particular topic into two parts. So the first part or first category would be La escuela y los estudios, school and studies. So here's the first question. ¿Qué te gusta más de tu escuela? ¿Qué te gusta más de tu escuela? What do you like most about your school? Well, here are some possible responses. Me gusta or me gustan, depending on the situation. So in the first one, we'd say me gustan las instalaciones. Or you could be more specific and say, me gusta la cancha de tenis, me gusta la biblioteca, me gustan los laboratorios, me gusta la piscina, or anything else that you like, in particular the facilities at your school. You could say me gustan los profesores, me gustan los alumnos, or las alumnas if it's an all-girls school. Or you could make it, turn it up a notch. You could make it a bit more complex. You could say, I like that something or somebody does a particular thing, right? So in that case, you'd have to use a subjunctive with me gusta. So you'd have to say me gusta que, and then the verb that you use would have to be in a subjunctive form. Here's an example. Me gusta que los profesores enseñen con el uso de la tecnología. I like that the teachers teach with the use of technology. Right? So you can try creating a similar sentence using the same structure. Now, what about this question? ¿Qué es lo que más te gusta de tu clase de español? ¿Qué es lo que más te gusta de tu clase de español? What is it that you like most about your Spanish class? So I can imagine you have many things to say about this, but here are some possibilities. Me gusta el profesor, again, so I like the teacher. Me gusta trabajar con mis compañeros de clase. I like to work with my classmates. Me gusta cantar canciones en español. I like to sing songs in Spanish. Or again, we can use that structure that requires a subjunctive if you want to, turn it up a notch. Me gusta que cantemos canciones en español. I like that we sing songs in Spanish. Now notice that if you want to keep the expression general, all you have to do after me gusta is to place the verb in its infinitive. So me gusta cantar, I like to sing, right? But if you want to talk about something that you like that particular persons do or that a particular thing does, it would have to be me gusta que, and then the verb conjugated to fit that person in the subjunctive, of course, the present subjunctive. All right? Here's another question. ¿Qué instalaciones tiene tu escuela? What facilities does your school have? When we talk about facilities, we talk about some of the amenities, right? So, for example, you could say mi escuela tiene, or en mi escuela hay. So either one works. It would be either my school has or in my school there is. Una cancha de tenis, a tennis court. Una pista de atletismo, a track and field a track basically. Una piscina, which is a swimming pool. Laboratorios, una biblioteca, a library. Pizarras interactivas. So this is smart boards. All right. So some schools are fortunate enough to have that. You can mention that, surprise your examiner with that new term. All right. Un campo de fútbol, of course, a football field, and many more, which you can also look up in your spare time if you don't know exactly how to say what you want to say. Some of the amenities in your school. All right. Next question. ¿Cuál asignatura es más difícil para ti? ¿Y por qué? Which subject is most difficult for you and why? I hope you don't say Spanish. So you can say creo que or pienso que the particular subject es difícil porque, because you have to give you a reason, of course. So I think that particular subject is difficult because. Now, just a point here. If you are talking about las matemáticas, since it's plural, you have to ensure that you say las matemáticas son difíciles because it is plural. So you'd say something like, creo que las matemáticas son difíciles porque me confunden, right? So, of course, all the verbs relating to it would have to be in the plural form because las matemáticas is plural. But let's say you say something like la física, physics, or even el arte. You'd say something like, pienso que el arte es difícil porque tengo que hacer mucho trabajo. I have to do a lot of work, right? You could say that about la física, right? You could say me confunde. It confuses me. Or for a subject maybe like history, la historia, creo que la historia es difícil porque hay que aprender demasiado información. You have to learn too much information. So of course for reading subjects that's usually the case. So you can use that. What about if you're asked this question? It's a prefieres question. So sometimes with prefieres questions you're given two options or more. ¿Prefieres aprender con libros o por medio de la tecnología? Do you prefer to learn with books or through technology? ¿Por qué? Why? So I suspect majority of you might say technology because, new generation, technology, you grow up with it and it's probably easier to interact with. But if you are like some students and you prefer to learn with books, you could say, prefiero aprender con libros porque es más fácil estudiar con un libro. It is easier to study with a book. Or porque los aparatos electrónicos tienen muchas distracciones. Electronic devices have a lot of distractions, right? So that's one of the things that you could say for why you'd prefer to study with books. Or you could say porque me permite tomar notas y subrayar el texto. So actually what should be here is me permiten because it's talking about libros. So it should be me permiten tomar notas. Books allow me to take notes and underline the text. The electronic devices too do that as well, but at the same time some persons prefer to actually manually interact with a book, so you could say that. But what about if you prefer electronic devices? Prefiero aprender por medio de la tecnología. Prefiero aprender por medio de la tecnología. I prefer to learn using technology or through technology porque es más fácil acceder a la información. It's easier to access information, right? Or los aparatos electrónicos son más convenientes, which means electronic devices are more convenient. Or you could even say es más barato y práctico tener todos mis libros en un aparato. It is way more affordable and practical to have all my books on one device. All right, so many options. You're not limited to these, but these are just some you could use or adapt to your liking. Now, this one is a bit controversial now because you have to talk about school rules. So, ¿cuál es la regla menos popular con los estudiantes en tu escuela? What is the least popular rule among students at your school? Can think of many things, right? Well, I gave you some easy ones, but you can always look up how to say, or use what you know to say, what you have in mind. So you could say, la regla menos popular en mi escuela es que. So the least popular rule at my school is that. And then you could use any of these expressions. Debemos or tenemos que, hay que, es necesario. So either of these indicate some form of obligation or duty, or the idea that we have to, or students must, or it is necessary, right? And whatever follows should be the infinitive of a verb. So you could say, debemos llevar uniformes feos. We have to, or we must, wear ugly uniforms. Tenemos que llegar muy temprano todos los días. We have to arrive very early every day. Or es necesario estudiar lenguas. It's necessary to study languages hasta el 11º grado, meaning until 11th grade or 5th form. So that's probably a rule that you don't like. Why is it that we have to study languages? Some schools have compulsory subjects that you must do up to the CSEC level, and you may not be in agreement with that. So that's something you could say. Es necesario estudiar historia hasta el 11º grado. So it's necessary to study history until 11th grade. And, no me gusta. I don't like that, That's something that you could express, if it's a rule that you don't appreciate. Then we have this one. ¿Traes almuerzo o lo compras en la escuela? ¿Por qué? Do you bring lunch or do you buy it at school? Why? So you could say, if you do bring lunch, you could say, traigo almuerzo porque es más saludable, es más delicioso, es más barato. Either one works. Saludable, of course, means healthy. Prefiero la comida que hace mi madre. I prefer the food that my mother makes. So, of course, you could also say, prefiero la comida que mi madre hace. So, the placement of haces, it doesn't really matter here as long as it's kind of sending the idea that your mother is making the food. Right? And then, no me gusta la comida de la escuela. So you carry lunch because you don't like the food at school. What about if you do buy lunch? Compro almuerzo en la escuela porque I buy lunch at school because es más conveniente, delicioso, o fácil. Right? It's more convenient, delicious, or easy. Prefiero la comida de la cantina. I prefer the food from the canteen. Or porque no sé cocinar. So I buy lunch because I really don't know how to cook. I can't prepare my own lunch, so I just buy it. Alright? Many other possibilities, you can leave them in the comments section below. Now let's go on to the next category, and I find that this question usually tends to be asking the same thing in different ways. So there are many ways to ask this question about careers, and I have basically put 4 different forms that you might find in the past papers, right? And I'm giving you several ways to respond to this one question. So you could possibly see, ¿qué carrera quieres seguir cuando termines tus estudios secundarios? Which career or major, you could say, because when you go to university, you pursue a major. So which career would you like to pursue then when you finish your secondary studies, basically? Another way to ask that question is, ¿qué harás después de graduarte? What will you do after you graduate? ¿Cuáles son tus planes para el futuro? What are your plans for the future? And please, students, whenever you see this question, the examiners aren't asking you what you're going to do later on, what you're going to do after, school finishes. Today, you're going to go to your sister's house, or you're going to go with your friends. No, that's not what the examiner is asking you. The examiner is asking you about your future plans, as in what your future, your life plans, basically. Right? Another possibility is ¿qué piensas ser en el futuro? What are you thinking of becoming in the future? Okay. Now here are some possible responses. So you have a choice. First thing is, you could say quiero seguir una carrera en. So this can either mean I'd like to pursue a career in or pursue a major in, just depending on the context, right? But generally we can say it means to pursue a career in, because the word carrera can mean a major, like the subject area that you study at university, or it can also mean career that we know it to be, right? So you could say quiero seguir una carrera en lenguas, for those of you who'd like to pursue a career in languages, right? Derecho is law. Ciencias, sciences. One thing I forgot to include was medicina. Medicina would be medicine, of course, for those of you who'd like to become doctors. Ingeniería, engineering. Informática, IT. Artes, arts like visual and theater arts. Humanidades, humanities. Like social sciences and cultural studies, that sort of thing. Negocio, business. Arquitectura, architecture, and many more. So you can always look for your field in a dictionary if you don't know exactly how to say it. All right? As well as you may not want to pursue the traditional university thing, career. You might want to do something vocational, right? So something where you work with your hands, right? So quiero hacer una formación en, I'd like to do some training in carpintería, which is carpentry, mecánica, mechanics, plombería, plumbing, construcción, construction, soldadura, welding, or cosmetología, cosmetology. So of course there are many options for you here, and it just goes to show there are many things that you can choose to do with your life after school. And of course you should be able to express that in Spanish. So there it is. But what if you want to do neither of those? So you could say, I'm done with school, no voy a continuar mis estudios. I'm not going to continue my studies. Quiero trabajar. I want to work. Or you could say something like, quiero hacer una pasantía. Well, una pasantía is an internship or assistantship, where of course you'd go to work with somebody who is skilled in a particular area, and you learn from that person, and that will give you the necessary hands-on skill. So students, viewers, there you have it. There are several ways for you to answer these questions that may come under this topic, school and career, on the Spanish CSEC oral exam. As I always say, mantengan la calma y aprueben el examen. Keep calm and pass the exam. Thank you so much for watching another video from Greenerside Language Academy. As always, I appreciate your support, and I encourage you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with your friends, because they might just need it. This information is valuable, especially as the oral exam is fast approaching. Alright, so muchas gracias y hasta la próxima.